everybody. Ooh, okay, I think I turned down the music enough. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing today? Well, we have got an interesting morning today. Let's get some tea, because this is gonna be that type of morning. We're gonna be taking a look at Bible verses. So good morning, EU gang. I know I'm finally streaming early enough that you guys can actually make it at a reasonable hour. I just happen to wake up early. I'm trying really, really hard to be a morning person. I'm not. And I'm like doing little things to be like, hey, you know, I'm awake, so let me treat myself by doing a stream and waking up this way with you guys. And I figured there's not really a better way to wake up and start your day than looking at some Bible verses that are maybe a bit weird, obscene, maybe ones that people like to ignore, that kind of stuff. So here we are. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, especially when it comes to talking about what's going on with the Ukraine war, and I talk about it, and I've most certainly not been subtle anymore about my viewpoints on Twitter, but there's many people that are streaming, debating, talking about what's going on in there. I feel that my viewpoint is pretty clear, and there's probably other people that cover it better than me or probably have more knowledge or stuff like that. So it's maybe just, I guess I should say maybe I don't think I'm the best speaker for it. Everyone has an opinion. I have an opinion, obviously, but I think maybe there are people who can articulate it much better than me. I'm kind of emotional about it. Other reasons, I have family right next door in Poland, and they tell us what's going on and what's being said in their local news and stuff. And there's, you know, they're making connections to other historical events from long ago, and it's just all really hard to hear. So I figured I would change the pace and do something just a little bit different for all of our sanity today, because there's got to be someone who isn't talking about it and just constantly doom like scrolling and talking, and the shit makes me want to cry. I don't know what else I could do. So let's try and change the subject and at least provide some sort of entertainment. Yeah. And many of you are night owls, I'm seeing too. So we've got night owls. We've got the EU gang here. Morning, for the morning folks. I think, no, it's very late at night in Australia, right? It's morning in the US and it's afternoon in European, African time zones, right? I think that's where we're at. All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at a few articles that I've put together that are just about like weird, ridiculous Bible quotes. We'll see how many we get through. Probably not too many, but let's just see how absurd these are. So for some context, I was raised Catholic growing up. My mom made me go to Catholic school. I didn't like it. I got in fights. Like, let me put it this way. At the beginning of like schooling, I most certainly was very Catholic. I very much believed everything. I was an altar girl. I did all of that. For some reason, my church decided to confirm me when I was in second grade. So I never really had the like full brain development to understand what was happening when I was confirmed. So I can't really remember anything about that, honestly. I don't really remember a lot about my early years of life, honestly. Kind of weird, but that's a different story. And then probably around the end of my high school years, when I was probably 16, 17, 18, I started to really question what was going on. And I've most certainly been kicked out of religion class before when I was younger for being much more opinionated and just wanting to fight because shit didn't add up. And then once I got out of high school, I didn't ever really look at the Bible again because I had lost a lot of faith, love, respect for religion as a whole. So this will have been a long time since I've looked at a Bible is what I'm trying to get at. And so to see some of these verses come back, as someone who literally used to have to actually read the Bible and at some points willingly read the Bible. This is going to be quite interesting for me because maybe now as an adult, I can put some more context to it, if that makes sense. So, ta-da! Many more Catholic adjacents in here too. Hello, everyone. Hello, good morning, Carla. An Exmo. Is that what you guys call yourselves? Ex-Mormon, like Exmo? Is that right? Is that not right? I keep seeing it in the comment section of the 2 videos that I've done about the Mormon religion. So I was like, is that right? I don't know. There is a whole thing like this, like what we're gonna do, like weird Bible verses. That's something for the Book of Mormon or like all of the collection of books. And I really want to do that on another stream, just not today. We're not gonna mix them all together. We're gonna kind of keep it separate. So, ta-da! All right. So let me switch screens really quick. Hold on. And is this the right one? Let's find out. Ta-da! All right, so we're gonna start off with this article from Salon. This is 11 kinds of Bible verses that Christians love to ignore. So I thought this would be a really easy one to dip our toes in, get a good starting point as to where we are. We're probably gonna see some redundancy of quotes, I assume, because there's got to be some spicy ones, obviously, that are going to be repeated, that are catchy and everything. But let's begin, shall we? Nice, easy breezy, beautiful. All right, so let us begin. So that they're going to start with weird insults and curses. Here, let me like make this a little bigger maybe so you guys can read too. Okay. The Monty Python crew may have coined some of the best insults of the last 100 years. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. But for centuries, the reigning master was Shakespeare. Okay. So Christians may scoot past these passages, but one hell-bound humorist used them to create a biblical curse generator. So I know this one. This one is like pretty popular. She lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys and whose emission was like that of horses. I'm gonna be honest, as a child reading this, I probably would not have understood what this actually meant, but as an adult looking at this, I think Ezekiel here is just like, has got like penis envy or something. Maybe I'm being a little too direct, and obviously the whole context is not entirely known to me, but I would definitely like to know why in a supposed religious text that something like this is the vibe, like something like this is okay to just put in there. Like, I'm just curious how this contributes to religion. And that's a personal question. It's not, you know, I'm not sitting here trying to question all of humanity and everything. I'm just saying, like, this is a little, I don't know, it's a little strange. It doesn't make sense to me that if you're reading a text for the sake of learning, knowing this information seems unwarranted, moot, perhaps. But perhaps just me. What is this? Hold on, I just got pinged for something. Oh, that's so weird. In my Discord server, apparently there's 2 pings. No, there's not. One of my admins manually pinged again for the stream. Oh no, now everyone got double pinged. I am so sorry to everyone who's in the Discord server and you got a double ping. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'll have to talk about that later. Robert says, I didn't even know there were VTubers on YouTube. Hey, ta-da, hello, I'm Blair. It's me, Illuminati. Bonjour. All right. So let's see, this one comes from Deuteronomy. This is a long one. You will be pledged to be married to a woman, but another will take her and rape her. What? Hold up. You will be pledged to be married to a woman, but another will take her and rape her. You will build a house, but you will not live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will not even begin to enjoy its fruit. Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, but you will eat none of it. Your donkey will be forcibly taken from you and will not be returned. Your sheep will be given to your enemies, and no one will rescue them. The Lord will afflict your knees and legs with painful boils that cannot be cured, spreading from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. So I'm reading this one of 2 ways. I'm reading this the literal way, which is some guy is going to marry a woman and then all his stuff's going to go downhill because she was raped. The other way that I'm reading this is that these are all just references, or what do they call it, like when it's not the actual thing? Shit, I don't remember what it's called. An analogy, I think. That it's all an analogy, that the woman is essentially still property, right? She is the house, but you will not live in it. She is the vineyard, but he will not enjoy the fruit of the vineyard. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I don't know. It's strange. It's very strange. And what's a VTuber? A VTuber is what my pyramid is in the corner. So a lot of the times on the main channel, you guys see the pyramid that is, they're essentially, each individual pose is a piece that was created by an artist, which is Plague Bird Plague on Twitter. And then we carefully stitch them together to make them look more animated in videos. A VTuber is this 2D model that's sitting here, and I'm being tracked right now through a camera, and the camera is tracking my movements and my eye blinking and stuff. And then that's how you see that the little pyramid in the corner is moving and grooving and schmooving because it's tracking me. So, ta-da! That's me. Anyway, let us continue. So now we're going to number 2, which is going to be awkwardly useless commandments. So the Bible is chock-a-block. I've never heard that phrasing. Chock-a-block? I feel like chock full. Whatever, with do's and don'ts. Some are simply statements of universal ethical principles, like do to others as you would have them do to you, don't lie, don't covet your neighbor's wife or possessions or whatever. But from a moral standpoint, most of them are simply useless and even embarrassing, especially if you think God could have used the space to say don't have sex with anyone you don't want to, or wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. Okay. So what are some of these goofy rules? Do not wear clothing woven of 2 kinds of material, from Leviticus 19:19. And then the other one, also from Leviticus, is ye shall not round the corners of your heads. So, couple assumptions here. 1, Leviticus, bit of a hard ass. Don't know what that's about. Number 2, the first one, do not wear clothing woven of 2 kinds of material. I find that kind of funny, kind of interesting, because a vast majority of clothing these days are like blends of different kinds of materials. So just something to keep in mind when you see the Catholic Karens screaming. It's like, oh, hey, that, sweatshirt you got at Kohl's, that's probably a polyester wool blend or something like that. Like that's 2 kinds of material, honey. You messed up. And ye shall not round the corners of your heads. I'm not 100% sure what that's in relation to. I don't know if that means like shaving your head, maybe? Is that a reference to maybe not shaving your head, not styling your hair? And I don't 100% know. It's a little weird to me. Anyway, we'll go to silly food rules. I'm going to ignore whatever they wrote. Let's go to some of these silly food rules. All that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. Okay. Cool. So don't eat certain fish or animals, I guess. Thou shalt not boil a kid in its mother's milk. What? Who's doing that? Who has enough mother's milk to boil a kid in it? I'm sorry. Just even on the grounds of being able to collect that much breast milk, like that's a lot of, isn't that a lot of milk you'd have to collect? Like, I don't know how old this kid is. That just seems weird to me. That just seems really weird. Again, for the first quote, it's Leviticus again. Very angy. Very angy. Leather Cat says, Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a man of war. Yeah, the Judeo-Christian God is a war god. Explains why Christians are insistent on invading other nations and committing genocide against them. Oop. Interesting. Holy hangups about genitals. Okay. All right, here we go. It's gonna be not pleasant, so let's get it. When a woman has a discharge, if her discharge in her body is blood, she shall continue in her menstrual impurity for 7 days, and whoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. Everything also on which she lies during her menstrual impurity shall be unclean, and everything on which she sits shall be unclean. Leviticus again. Essentially, ladies, gents, theys, thems, whoever is having their period, you're dirty, because a normal, natural cycle for your body is deemed bad. It's no wonder a lot of these Christian dudes, though, for the record, something like this really clears up a lot for me, because I know just this morning I was just being real pissy about how the bill in the Senate or whatever that would have solidified Roe v. Wade, even if the Supreme Court turns it over, failed because of Joe Manchin, a fucking dinosaur. Most of them are dinosaurs, to be fair, that need to be gone. But this explains like their stance on why they do not understand women, why they're gross, why they think that women are objects to be controlled, if this is what they're being taught. That a normal, natural cycle in being a woman, I shouldn't say in being a woman, being a person who has menstrual cycles, is suddenly unclean. Like, what? This does not make any sense to me, but okay. When men fight with one another and the wife of one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of him who is beating him, and he puts out her hand and seizes him by the private parts, then you shall cut off her hand. What? Okay, I'm trying to find context. Like, I am mentally trying to understand the context of this. So, okay. So if you're trying to, like, two men are fighting and your wife comes around and she decides to put her hand out to be like, all right, Johnny, I'm literally grabbing you by the balls and we're going home. You've had enough fighting for the day. You cut off her hand? This is the only context I can get from it. And I just want to know, in what scenario two dudes are fighting and the wife comes out, grabs him by the balls. It's like, Johnny, you fought enough today. Get your ass home. It's time for supper. Like, I just want to know. Like, is this like it happened once? And so now they're like, well, this is a rule. This can never happen again. So if you binches try and do it again, we're going to cut your hands off. Is that what this is? Is this like a minor threat? Like, I don't know what this is. But it's goofy, all right. It's absolutely goofy. All right, let's talk about some of God's temper tantrums. All right, first one's from 2 Kings. Elisha went up to Bethel. As he was walking along the road, some boys came out of the town and jeered at him. "Get out of here, Baldy," they said. "Get out of here, Baldy." He turned around, looked at them, and called down a curse on them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys. What the fuck? Hold on. Thank you, Leisha. I had to read this for my bat mitzvah. It also means kid, as in a young goat. Oh. It's the kosher laws, meaning you shall not eat meat and milk together, and no shellfish or bottom feeders. Thank you, Leisha, for the context of the previous quote. And Leisha is discussing up here the "thou shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk." Okay, you are right. A kid is and a baby goat, and that makes sense. Yeah, the no shellfish and bottom feeders. I don't know. I mean, I think those are gross to eat anyway. A lot of times I tell restaurants I'm just allergic because it's such a repulsive experience for me. So I I guess I'm not too mad at that, but still, yeah. Now this get out of here baldy thing. I have a feeling this was written by someone who is bald and who's not taking it well. I'm going to be honest. This feels extremely like specific. Like a lot of these sometimes feel like romanticized diary entries, if that makes sense. Like that's what I've started to see it as an adult. Is this person was bald and was like, I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of being like made fun of for being bald. And is, well, guess what? Last time someone called me baldy, I called a curse down upon them and 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys that were making fun of me. Like, like, okay. All right, seems fake, but go off. Early in the morning, as Jesus was on his way back to the city, he was hungry. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it, but found nothing on it except leaves. Then he said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." Immediately, the tree withered. All right. So this. Let's break this down just by a hair, like a small little smidgen of a hair as to what's going on here, okay? So, hold on. Where's my... All right, we're reading. So, here's what the heck's being said here, right? So Jesus is hungry. He sees a fig tree, okay? And he goes, wow, this tree is not producing fruit, but I am hungry. Therefore, fuck you. You will never be a fig tree that bears fruit again. It just, you know what I mean? Like, so I grew up, right? Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and God are 3 in 1, right? 3 of the same being. And I don't know. It just seems like a temper tantrum to me, especially looking at it as an adult. Is this does not seem like it follows the rules. I get it. It's a tree. It's a plant. So some people are like, oh my God, you know, there's no rules. Doesn't matter, whatever. But it sounds like this dude, legit, Jesus dude, is spoiled brat and is just like, well, or you know what? It's even nice guy-ish. Is that too far to say? Am I going to get in too much trouble for that? This is kind of, if I can't have you, nobody can. Is that not the same energy? I'm not saying it's the same thing, but is the energy not the same? Like, it's a little spooky. It's just a little spooky. That's all I'm saying. And I don't like nice guys. So this is a little bit uncomfortable to me, but yeah. So let's go. 6 times when the Bible is worse than Satan. Oh boy. Oh boy, this can't go wrong at all, right? All right, Numbers. Let's go. Now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones and kill every woman who has known man intimately. But all the girls who have not known man intimately, spare for yourselves. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Do we need to explain that one? I don't know. I feel like this is I feel it's pretty self-understood, but it's also not good. Kill every male among the little ones. Is that referring to killing sons? Killing sons? And kill any woman who has had sex with a male. That's how I'm taking it. And so that would mean every mother, every just married woman, every woman who had sex outside of marriage, and then I guess every male child, so that the adults could go on, and then the adult guys can just spare the girls, because there is a distinction here, right? It says kill every woman who has known man intimately, but all the girls who have not known man intimately, spare for yourselves. Maybe this is just them using, and here's the only excuse I could think of, is that woman is a term for a woman who is like a female who is dirty, and girls is for innocence. But the way I read it is woman is adult, girl is child. So they say spare the girls. Again, maybe I'm off, but it just seems a little bit pedophilic. Just a hair. Next one. He, Josiah, executed the priests of the pagan shrines on their own altars, and he burned human bones on the altars to desecrate them. He did this in obedience to all the laws written in the scroll that Hilkiah, the priest, had found in the Lord's temple. Never before had there been a king like Josiah, who turned to the Lord with all his heart and soul and strength, obeying all the laws of Moses. And there had never been a king like him since. Now, if someone were to do that IRL in real life, this would be murder, right? You kill somebody and then you burn their bones. It just seems very serial killer-esque. Blade Charge says, what is this site? It feels like a bunch of bullshit. This comes from an article from Salon, but you know what? Let's try and back this up. Let's try and take a look. So let's take this first one since it's much shorter. Let's go to this and let's go ahead and look up, what is this exactly? You know, I think you're right for being critical. Let's take a look at some variations of it and see what we get. So this one is coming from the King James Bible. This is the same thing, Numbers 31, 17 to 18. And here we go, Numbers 31, 17 to 18. Here's from King James. And it says, now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known man lying with him. But all the women children who have not yet known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Well, that's interesting. It seems to be pretty much the same. So certainly the wording is a little more, there are little variations, but they're essentially the same thing being said. So I'm going to go ahead and say that that's fairly accurate, but we can try it again. Let's see. Let's go to, is this real one? Well, that was Bible Gateway of the King James. Let's try this one. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man by lying with him. But all the young girls who have not known man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Now that seems near identical. Oh, look, here they show the variations. So this variation appears to come from the New International Version. We read the King James one. Here's the New Living Translation one, which is nearly identical. The New King James Version one, here's this one as well, looks pretty much identical. New Century Version, this one lists a type of boy and woman, but other than that, same thing. American Standard Version, nearly identical. Whatever the Darby Bible is, nearly identical. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is the accurate quote. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is the accurate quote. This is the message being portrayed. I'm gonna go ahead and say I like this one because this shows me all the different Bible versions. I'm gonna keep this one open so we can keep taking a looky-loo at this. Biblia. Okay, so then it looks like I can just look up a topic or passage here. Cool. I like that. Let's question, you know, is this accurate? I think that's a really good point, Blade Charge. You know, yeah, it feels like a bunch of bullshit, but unfortunately, it turns out this is pretty accurate. But I like this. Let's keep it questioning. Let's keep it open. Maybe these things are misconstrued. So let's double and triple check. I like this. Also, Victor, folks are writing fan fiction about the Bible. Why? I don't know. If I knew the answer, I don't know. Have I looked up Ezekiel 23:20? Is that the one about the women and the donkey balls? I don't have the energy. I think we talked about it earlier, right? Is that one? Yeah. Yeah, it was literally the first one we talked about. Possum Boy. All right. So yeah, times when the Bible was worse than Satan. I would say these are pretty bad. Yeah. And then this one literally talking about how this dude killed someone who was practicing a separate religion, someone who, you know, was tolerant of early Christians. And this Josiah was not tolerant of other religions, which seems to be kind of a motive or like a similar motif that goes on within Christians, is they're not actually tolerant of other religions. And so they killed them on their own altar in their own sacred place, and then burned their bones on the altars too. That's pretty fucking disrespectful, just going to say. Marty says, from what I understand of Judaism, maybe I'm wrong, but it's a religion of debate as to the meaning of these passages. That's my understanding as well, is that it's debate and interpretation, that these passages should not be interpreted literally, and that the passages are also written in a time that is different from the time we live in now. So not all of these are entirely relevant. And that's my understanding. But again, I'm not practicing Jewish. I am not practicing. So I am not an expert voice on that. But I agree that I think we hold a similar opinion. Cax says, I guess we're just checking messed up stuff from the Bible, not just messed up teachings and messages. Yeah, today is just Bible Day. Today is Bible Day. That's what we're doing. We're just taking a looky-loo. Marty also says, on top of that, Christianity was very picky and choosy about what they put in the Bible, including the Old Testament. That is true. And there's what I find really interesting are the other Bible passages that never made it into the Bible. Now, those are very interesting because that's where we bring in a common theme, actually, religiously, throughout other religions, how there's multiple gods, or at least two other gods. There's a good God and an evil God, and how potentially Christianity is actually being led by the evil God. It's a very interesting hypothesis. I'm not saying it's true or anything because I don't really want to, whatever, but I think it's a very interesting thing that should be better studied and try to be understood what's going on here. So personally, I think what they left out is very interesting because I think it's telling. So it's just interesting. Why not look at this as if it's interesting, whether we look at it as a piece of fiction or, whatever it is. Jamcal X says, Leviticus was Moses trying to organize a newly freed people, so they protected population growth, maintained diet and hygiene, sanitary protocols. Okay, that's actually very interesting insight. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So Leviticus was definitely then about kind of reorganizing your newly freed people. And the context on this, I think, is important. So let's go back some of it, even with that context, is definitely a little spooky. The context is great to know. Still strange. The fish, this one, that one I understand. Maybe they're just saying, hey, don't eat these kinds of things. They're not good. And honestly, when it comes to, shellfish and stuff, I get it. The gross. I will not do it. The two kinds of material, I would say up for interpretation. I would say that doesn't matter. And not rounding the corners of your heads. Like, these things seem quite restrictive to me. But if that's, back in those times when these were written, perhaps this was more normal, right? We're only looking at it through the modern lens because that's all we can look through. Or I should say, that's all I can look through. I don't have the expertise to look back in time, if that makes sense, because I don't understand the full context of what was going on in the whatever XXBC or AD or whatever. So if that makes sense, like, I'm going to admit I am no expert in this. I am simply reading and trying to comprehend as I can understand now. And Alicia says Genesis 1 and 2, look up this one. Oh boy. Genesis is very interesting. I know that when I was still a practicing Catholic. Interestingly enough, this probably explains why I'm not a Catholic anymore. What was, hold on, let me look it up, because it was the final chapter of the Book of Christianity. It was the one about the end times, because that was the one I'd always actually reread because I found it interesting. What is it called? I cannot remember. Revelations. There we go. That's the one that I used to read before I stopped being a practicing Catholic, because I found the idea of the end times to be so interesting, and to what they claim will bring the end times, because I most certainly had teachers that were definitively saying, oh, this will be this, this, and this, X, Y, and Z. But then you'd read the chapters and I would sit there and try to understand it. Granted, I was 16, 17, 18 years old, not the smartest person in the whole world. I was still a child, essentially, but I found it very interesting just to understand what people think the end times are. What do the end times call for? But anyway, I'm not going to try and get philosophical. I am not a philosophical person. Tyler also says John 1:14 NIV is a funny one. All right, let's start with Leisha. Let me take a quick pause. Let's go to Genesis 1:2. Oh, right here. Okay. So here's, Genesis 1 and 2. That's, okay, yeah, the creationist story. Now, there's actually, I know there's another one of these articles that I pulled up that talks about the creation story, and that there's two, technically, people argue now that there's two types of creation stories. That one is God made animals, then made man and woman, which is an argument for evolution. And then there's the other one that God made man and then made woman from his rib or whatever. And that some people are arguing that that's the idea, that because woman actually creates life because she carries the child, that it's a way to make men feel like they were the more powerful ones. These are all theories that I've heard, so I'm not justifying them or dismissing them. They just are. If that makes sense. But yeah, these, I remember listening to these as a child. So I don't know if you guys remember this. For those of you that are either currently practicing or former practicing, as a child, right, you would go to church on Sundays, and then the priest would say something before they got to all the Bible teachings for the main church service. They would invite all the kids up to the front of the altar, and you would get this little blessing, and everyone would be blessed or, fucking dabbed on with holy water. And then we'd get sent to the basement of the church, where there would be usually like a couple women down there, and they would let us color, like religious coloring books, or they would read to us like the little color picture books about religious passages. Maybe that was just my church that I went to, but that was definitely something I grew up remembering. So I never got the adult things. The kids would go downstairs and you'd be coloring, playing games and stuff like that. So anyway, Gen 1:2 is not Adam and Eve. What is Gen 1:2? Is that not Genesis? I have no idea what that is, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Alicia. Tyler says John 1:14 NIV is a funny one. Let's take a look at that too. Let's see what's going on. Let's see here. Let's just do that. John 1:14, and I'm looking for NIV. Hopefully this one will do. Is it not going to let me actually go up more? Okay, well, that's fine. On this little teeny tiny sidebar. Oh, wait, it's right here? Oh, okay. Thank you, little circle, for pointing it out. And the word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness about him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said, he who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me. For from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, the only God who is at his Father's side, he has made him known." Maybe it is different in a different version. Let me try and, because I didn't get the funny. So let me try this again. Okay. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Maybe I'm missing the funny. Hold on. Let me sit here and try to understand this. Okay, the Word became flesh and made... Oh, God, I hate this when they always do... You're trying to make me remember why this is supposed to be funny, and I don't like this, because the Word became flesh. I know it's not the literal translation of it being flesh, but it's meaning it became solid and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. I don't know. Leisha says, it is Genesis. It's the story that man and woman made together. Oh. Okay. Tyler says, no, it was right, Among Us. Oh my God, it's an Among Us joke. That really went over my head. It's Amogus. God damn it. It's, okay, fine. It's a pretty sus. John 1:14 is pretty sus then. I'm so sorry. I'm so dense. I was sitting here trying to interpret this and go, why is this funny? And the answer was Among Us. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I'm such a serious person. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, when the Bible is sus. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking tightly wound up. I apologize. I'm sorry. All right. Let's go to something not funny. Instructions for slave masters as written in the Bible. Because of course it is. So the reality is that the Bible says much more in support of slavery than against it. Again, no, you know what? I don't have to reiterate. I'm just going to go, I'm just going to side-eye this really strongly because I'm just going to go, this is, shocking. Shocking. All right, here we go. You may purchase male or female slaves from among, not us, from among the foreigners who live among you. You may also purchase the children of such resident foreigners, including those who have been born in your land. You may treat them as your property, passing them on to your children as a permanent inheritance. You may treat your slaves like this, but the people of Israel, your relatives, must never be treated this way. You know, this is pretty clear what it's saying. I don't think there's really any interpretation here. Also, hi, Joshi the Yoshi. I don't think this is, I don't think there's anything up for interpretation here. I think this is pretty clear what it's saying. It's not right. I don't think that is some crazy out there statement. But yeah, they pretty much, yeah, if as long as it's not your people, your relatives, yeah, enslave them and treat them as property. Like that's what that's saying. Leviticus again. Like y'all are saying, pretty sus. That's, again, historically, things start to make sense. If this is what, you know, people truly believed, it starts to make sense, not in a good way. Also, for everyone wondering, this is going to be left up. The stream will be left up. And we're also, I have a fantastic editor that edits down the streams into nice chewable clips so that they're a little bit shorter, a little more put together, things like that. Add some cool effects. So you don't always hear the downtime with me just panicking, being stupid, whatever. You just got all the good juicy bits in one little wrapped up 10-15 minute video every time. So don't worry, you guys will also see videos come out on this channel that are going to be just kind of nice and cut up. Like I think you guys know a couple days ago, or maybe a week ago at this point, I did a stream about the Nugget Couch, and And then afterwards followed that up with the story of what happened when I finally decided to take a vacation, went to Caesar's Palace, and the hotel room got broken into, that whole story. Well, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, so 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I think that's 2 or 3 p.m. GMT 0, the video of the Nugget Couch story is going to be going live as a video on the channel. So all of these streams stay up, but they also turn into videos that are a little more palpable as well too. Because a stream is one thing, but sometimes rewatching a stream sucks when it's not live. Because I've done that. Like, I've rewatched streams and I'm like, oh yeah, this is so interesting, I want to watch this. But then I'm like, I wish I could interact, and I can't interact because it's not live anymore. So sometimes I'll wait for the video instead. So I make sure to do both. Anyway, the next thing about slaves is slaves, obey your earthly masters with deep respect and fear. Serve them sincerely as you would serve Christ. So is this directions for slaves? That's like, hey, if you're religious, then you'll love to serve your slaves just like you serve your God. Is that what that's really saying? Because I don't know. I feel, again, pretty self-explanatory, not in a good way. What is this? Hold on. Your stream's current bitrate is higher than the recommended rate. We recommend that you stream at a bitrate of 2500. Apparently I'm streaming at 5210 kbps, and they want me to stream at 2500. I don't know how to change that. I don't know what that means. Is the stream like too much? I don't know how to change that. I'm gonna try and fix that afterwards. I don't know what that means at all. Okay, bizarre death penalties. Okay, 2 of them, one's from Deuteronomy, one again from our favorite Leviticus. So first one, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of the city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard, and all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So you heard this. If you go through a teenage rebellion phase, you can be put to death. That is from the Bible. Now, I know damn well, that if my parents were actually ultra religious and followed the rules of the Bible, my ass would have probably been kicked out of the house, because you can't stone. Well, I'm certain you could stone a child, but you don't get away with it nowadays in the modern times. I've not heard of modern day stonings for children in the US. But getting kicked out, which I know a lot of my friends, when they turned 18 and they were all going through their, kind of rebellion phase and stuff, they were kicked out of the house. And I wonder if it has roots from quotes like this, where if your child doesn't listen to them, literally like just abandon them. Perhaps that's me. Overthinking it, perhaps, but yeah, I'd be dead is the reality. If this rule was actually followed by my parents, my ass would have been dead long time ago. I would have been very dead. But anyway, if a man has sex with an animal, he must be put to death, but the animal must also be killed. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Do I agree with that? Maybe. I shouldn't agree with that. You shouldn't have sex with animals. All right, I think that's a fair point. This is like the first time I'm agreeing so far in this stream. And I'm like, oh yeah, like don't do the nasties with animals. The animal being killed though, I don't know about that. That's not fair to the animal. They can't consent. That's not fair. Anyway, just keep in mind that this had to actually be put in the Bible, a religious text. So how am I supposed to, how are any of us supposed to feel about that? I suppose is the best way to say it. Yeah, the question is, what did the animal do? I don't know. Okay, the denigration of handicapped people. Oh boy, gotta love this. All right. No one whose testicles are crushed or whose penis is cut off shall be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. God help me. Why do they have to talk about penises so much and testicles? Like, what's the deal? Victor says, remember, animals cannot consent. Abso-fucking-lutely. Like, can I ask why the Bible talks so much about private parts? I ask, but I don't have an answer, I guess is the other part of this. I do not know. I don't know. Okay. Well, that was that one. Whosoever hath any blemish, let him not approach to offer the bread of his God. For whatever so man he be that hath a blemish, he shall not approach. A blind man, or a lame, or that he hath a flat nose, or anything superfluous. Sorry, I never say that word right. Or a man that is broken-footed, or broken-handed, or crook-back, or a dwarf, or that hath a blemish in his eye, or be scurvy or scabbed, or hath his stones broken. He shall not go in unto the veil, nor come nigh unto the altar, because he hath a blemish. That he profane not my sanctuaries. Leviticus again. For the record, this also means I'm not going to heaven because I broke my arm. So, I am broken-handed or broken-armed. This is insane to me. So just so you guys know, if you wear glasses, according to this text, you don't go to heaven. If you guys have ever broken bones, not going to heaven. If you're too short, not going to heaven. If you have a flat nose, I don't know what that is in relation to, but if you have a flat nose, if you don't have a certain type of nose, you're not going. If you're a lame, I don't know what a lame means, but you don't get to go to heaven. That is nuts. That does not make any sense. Oh my God. So, any of this, you don't go to heaven. So, I'm not going to heaven, confirmed. So might as well make the best of it because I broke my arm. So yeah, and that is the real question: is who the fuck actually who actually has never had any of these things? Be scurvy or stabbed is like maybe sickness. I don't know. It's Onet says a lame is an ableist term. It's in reference to the functionality of your legs. Oh, thank you. That's terrible. Jamcal X says it meant you can participate in ritual, not necessarily excluded from heaven. Yeah, but isn't it also kind of tied in if you can't participate in the rituals, then you're not being a proper Christian, therefore you can't get into heaven? Because baptism, confirmation, all of those things are rituals. So if you can't fulfill those religious duties or requirements, it's kind of saying you can't get into heaven. I know that's the thing for what is it, for the Mormons. That was their Curse of Cain shenanigans that they did. I know that. Oh, who has a birthday? Happy birthday, Queen Shah. Happy birthday. I hope you have a good day. Unfortunately, we are reading Bible verses. All right. Moral edicts that demand too much. Okay. Anyone who has 2 shirts should share with the one who has none, and anyone who has food should do the same. I don't see what's... Okay, maybe this is me. I don't actually see what's wrong with this. In modern, of course, with the modern times and modern lens, this to me sounds like if you have an excess of stuff, give to someone who does not. I volunteer, I donate, and in my company, not to get to, whatever, but in my company, I have a policy that you can take time off from work to go volunteer, and that I'll pay you to go volunteer as well. Because I think volunteering and giving back to your communities is kind of important. And for the candle shop for Nox Investa, we're doing all sorts of stuff. We donate a certain amount of all of the earnings that we make from the candles to go to, I think we have 5 different charities. Some of them are obviously Colorado local. We did like some kind of global ones, and then some kind of ones centralized more to like Denver and then Colorado Springs. So I'm like, I don't think this one demands too much. I think this is just saying, if you have enough, it's okay to volunteer and donate and help other people who are not as well off. I don't think I agree with saying that this is a moral edict that demands too much. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but I don't know. Maybe this is just me. This next one from Ephesians says, nor should there be obscenity, foolish talk, or coarse joking, which are out of place. All right, all of you Among Us jokers in the chat. Hell. Hell. Every single one of us. We're going. I mean, yeah, I've made foolish talks, coarse jokes. So I don't know. Hi Ho Gamer says, like, is it bad that I'm Catholic? Again, genuine question, because people keep saying how bad religion is. So I'm a former Catholic. I'm not Catholic now. And ultimately, and this is what I'll say because my mom is still practicing Catholic, if religion is what soothes your mind and it makes you feel better and you feel fulfilled in your life living it that way, then live your life that way. I would say as long as you're not taking away the freedoms of other people around you, then you should feel free to practice whatever religious belief you believe or don't believe in. I don't believe in it anymore. I don't believe that this is the way you're supposed to live. I don't believe these books necessarily teach the best values in the whole world. And so I have separated myself from it. And I'm someone who, I think you guys know that I'm Polish. My mom is from Poland. I still literally have family in Poland right now. And my mom grew up with a priest that became Pope John Paul II, who died in like 2008 or 2009. So JP2 and my mom remained friends, and I've been to the Vatican when I was a child multiple times, hung out with Pope John Paul. We wrote like poems and stuff together. We talked, we had dinners. Like I knew him on a more personal basis. And even with that, I still think it's more important that you are morally sound as a person, and whatever happens, whether there be an afterlife or not, I think it's important for the good of yourself and for the good of society to act in a moral way. And I think morality is the higher value thing to believe in. But that's not to dismiss what you enjoy or what brings you peace in your life. I don't know if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, I'm definitely not the best at wording this kind of stuff, because it's a conversation that me and my mom occasionally have, but it's a very surface level kind of conversation, because obviously she's sad that I am not practicing anymore, but I'll still go with her to church. When she wants me to go, I'll still go with her to Easter. I'll still go for, the blessings and stuff like that. And I go with her, but it's not, the biggest thing for me in the whole world. But yeah, as long as you treat someone with dignity and with the rights they deserve, and you live your life moral, I think that is the most important part. It's one of the reasons why, because I fight between a lot. I won't say I'm an atheist. I personally fight a lot between, is there a God or is there not a God? Or the third line of thought, does it matter if there is a God? Because that's kind of where I've been in my questioning personally. If we're going to really get into some of the personals here. My personal line of thinking is that here, let me switch this really quick. So my personal line of thinking is that if there is a God, and this God is all knowing, and theoretically you would say this God is all good, would that God care if you believed in him or not, so long as you actually led your life in a good, moral, positive way? And so to that degree, when I see someone who is atheist, those people who do not believe in God, yet choose to live their life morally good, who will still volunteer, who will help people out, who aren't literally, assholes like they're made out to be, who are just nice, decent folks. I think that means a lot, because they're not praying for an afterlife. There's nothing that drives them for the hope of being saved in a different life or in a world beyond this one. They do it because it's what's right. And so I would think that if there is a God that is all-knowing, all-loving, and all of this information, that if you are an atheist and there's no God, then I think you lived your life great. And if you are an atheist and there is a God, then I would assume that that God would still accept that person into the afterlife, the kingdom of God, whatever, because they were still a moral and just person in their lives. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but that's where I'm trying to, that's where I am in my current thought process. When people ask me what my belief code is right now, I won't say I'm practicing any sort of religion, and I also won't say that I am an atheist. What I do understand that I think where I fall, at least previously where I've said that I am, or what I am, is that I'm a deist. And my understanding of what deism is, which is what I think is the best way for me to understand, at least where I personally am, it could be false. I'm sure there's plenty of people who would argue that my point of view is stupid, and that's okay. That's just where I am right now in trying to understand who I am in the world I live in. So deism is essentially the belief that God did create the world and did everything, but that God gave us free will, right? That's a big thing. He gave us free will. He gave us the tools to our success or our demise. And he made everything and then said, all right, I'm stepping back. Now it's your turn to do stuff. And we have the choice to be morally good people or morally bad people. And it's what we do in our own individual lives that determines, where our morals, our conduct, and our codes lie. And so it's not per se that a religious organization is good or bad, although I find most of them to be a bit greedy. And that's something that really turns me off, because I don't see that as right. But that's kind of where I stand currently. And for the record, I've held this position for probably, 12 years. So my personal belief is that there is a God, but that he's not an active God. He's not a God that's necessarily going to listen to prayers. He's created this world. He's created science. He's created an understanding of everything. And it's our ability as free thinking human beings to be able to come to these conclusions and learn knowledge on our own. We can choose to do it. We can fail to do it. And I think that my explanation is a good way to explain things that Christianity and other various religions can't explain. Because Christianity, there's often the question of why does God let bad things happen? Right? And the common thing I hear is that either there is no God, or that the God is an asshole, or he's not a good God. Because why would a good God let children die of cancer? Why would they have wars? And why would they let those children die in wars? Right? So I think there's something to be said that this is a process of science, and this is a process of genetics. This is a process of politics that has nothing to do with God, because it has everything to do with free will. What humans on this planet have decided is morally right or wrong. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm gonna get off my little podium. I know people don't like hearing opinions like this. It can be very, I don't know, it can be very alienating. So I'm not gonna, go too far into it. It's not a solid belief for me. It's something that I think it's a good thing to question. I think if you blindly follow something just because someone said it and you don't ever want to look into it or anything, I think that's wrong. I think that's kind of the ultimate thing. But my biggest takeaway in all of this is, if God gave you free will, then shouldn't you use it to dictate your life, your standards, and the way you want to live? That's where I'm going to end that. But let's go back to the Bible quotes. I apologize for going a little bit off track or anything like that. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, and I hope I kind of said it clearly. I don't know. I hope I hope I said it in an okay way. All right, let's go back to some quotes. So we went through the moral edicts. Again, I disagree with these based on what we literally just talked about. You should be able to have free will. If you want to make your amogus sus jokes, if you want to make fucking stupid sex jokes, go for it. If you want to be obscene, I mean, like, that's your right to. And I personally obviously do believe you should be, volunteering, giving back to your communities, that kind of stuff, but you don't have to. But you don't have to if you don't want to, or if you can't afford to. That's the other kind of thing to remember here. So let's see, passages that are a waste of brain space and paper. And they don't give any examples. Okay. Let's go on to something else. So this is 14 most abominable Bible verses. So this person says, I recall as a child thinking it was a tad unfair that God struck down someone who was carrying his ark with a bolt of lightning. Surely his tripping and falling was an accident not punishable by death. All right, so this is someone who was questioning religion at a young age. Let's take a look. So here's a list of Bible verses that will make one wonder just what sort of God Christians give their lives to in sincere patronage to what they call holy. If any readers have better examples, please sure to add it. I know Christians will excuse the worst by saying, oh, these are Old Testament, which I believe I've seen some of that in this chat just a bit. He's like, oh, these are all Old Testament. So I'll try to find quotes liberally from the New. All right, that works for me. Let's try it out. Let's see what they got. All right, what's going on here? So Amber says, I'm religious, but I don't support organized religion. The Bible is so often interpreted and used by people, usually men, to support selfish desires of power and control. And I agree with that. I think that there's been a lot of misinterpretation of the Bible as a form of control and a way to exploit people, especially exploit women, exploit minorities, exploit those who are not fully able-bodied. And of course, those who do not believe in the same religion. And yeah. And I keep saying Helio Gamer, but hi ho gamer says, thank you. I was just looking to an answer to a question that was bothering me. I greatly appreciate your answer. Yeah, of course. And remember, I'm just one opinion out there. There's many opinions, and you should most certainly see, what is out there and what's offered, because, I'm not going to ever say I'm the right viewpoint. I'm just a viewpoint, one of many. So this one says, God himself will kill tens of thousands if it pleases him. 1 Samuel 6:19 in the King James Bible version. And he smote the men of Beth Shemesh because they had looked into the ark of the Lord. Even he smote of the people 50,000 and 70 men. I mean, yeah. If you looked into the ark and you just kill people for it, I would say that's not great. That's not very forthcoming of information or anything, but yeah. Mary says, I've been pagan for years, but recently I found myself wandering all over. Strangely, some spirits seem to be following me around. It's got nothing to do with my morals, as they are separate. And that's fair. Everyone's allowed to go on their own journey. I'm not going to ever fight with anybody over the fact that, you know, oh, well, I'm uber Catholic, or I'm, you know, uber Mormon even though I've made 2 videos about the Mormon belief system and like the books and what they write, in the same way that I'm doing this right now with a Christian book. I just think it's important that if you're going to believe in this, that you should know the full story around this. Like, you should know, if you're going to put, you know, whole chest forward and go, I believe this. Maybe you should, you know, take a look at what you believe in before you put your whole chest out like that. That's kind of where I'm at, is almost every religion that I've looked at, and of course there's many religions that I've not looked at, and many religions I don't know about. But the religions I've looked at, there always seems to be something that is inherently fatally wrong about it, in the sense that it makes me uncomfortable. So when I see these kinds of quotes, right, with Christianity, these are things that I started to see when I was a teenager, and I go, there's something about this that doesn't feel right. And so I started questioning things. And when I either wouldn't get answers, or I would get shut down, that I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm thinking sinfully and stuff like that, over questioning Bible verses, that it made me question even more the institution. And I think it's very okay to question things, because again, we were given free will. Part of free will is the ability to question. And again, if your God, whichever God you believe in, is all-knowing and all-caring and all-loving, then I'm pretty sure he would accept you questioning, why is it like this? Why is it not like this? So anyway, I just think that if your God is a true, loving, caring God, that it's okay to question things. And if people shut you down, then perhaps that's an issue with the institution and the belief structure that's been created. I don't know. I don't want to get too into it. You can kill a woman if she seizes a man's private parts without his permission. Yeah, we've already seen that one. Slaves, be subject to your masters with all reverence. Okay, yeah, we kind of saw that one again. Wait, sex slavery condoned. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of 6 years as men are. If she does not please the man who bought her, he may allow her to be bought back again. Exodus striking once again. I don't know. Sex slavery is not the thing for me. I think that is morally unjust. I personally disagree very strongly with this. And to even go, one, a man can sell his daughter as a slave, but then because she's a woman, she doesn't even get freed after 6 years, which is apparently the term of slavery. And if she doesn't please the dude who bought her, he can buy her. Wait, he may allow her to be bought back again? Does that mean she can be sold on the market or something? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Amber says, I could be wrong, but I think it's the human leaders who don't want to be questioned. God probably doesn't care. Just my opinion. I kind of have the same kind of thought process, if I'm going to be totally honest with you, Amber. I don't think God cares. I think God is open to questioning. I think that's, again, why we were given the ability to have cognitive thought. But I think you're right. There is a corrupt human element, because humans are all flawed by nature. We're not perfect beings. And perhaps they've done something a little shifty, a little shady. a little inappropriate. And now they're trying to hide it. So if you question it, yeah, then you're bad. Divorce akin to debauchery. Whoever putteth away his wife and marrieth another committeth adultery. And whosoever marrieth her that is put away from her husband committeth adultery. I mean, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If you're married, you divorce, marry someone else, you've committed adultery. And what's funny too is by that verse, my mom is an adulteress. She doesn't talk about it, but she was married once before she married my dad, and they divorced because they couldn't have any children, so their marriage was annulled. And you know, she's still practicing Christian, practicing Catholic, and I'm like, I don't know, if I show her this, I'm like, are you a sinner? Are you going to hell for this? Like, I would think not. I think my mom has genuinely tried to live her life the best way she can. She's not, you know what I mean? But she's been supportive of me. She's been supportive of my sister. She's been supportive of our lives. I don't think she's going to hell, but according to this verse right here, she is. Cannibalism? What? No, this is not about cannibalism. This is a lie. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her the next day, give thy son, that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. What? Is this really a Bible verse? Let me see this. So we're looking for King James 6:28 and 29. Okay, here's 28. Oh my God. Okay, let's keep reading. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. What? Sorry, where's the Biblia? There we go. Let's look this back up. Come on. Oh no, well, let me, oops. Let's go back to this. So we were here. So let's copy. Let's put it in here. Okay. So here we go. So here's this. And 28 begins here. And the king asked her, what is your trouble? She answered, this woman said to me, give your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and ate him. I didn't know this existed. Maybe this is something as a child they were like, children are not going to read about cannibalism until the Bible. What? This is not like, I'm not done. I'm like, hold up. Where's the Biblia thing? Is this going to show me all the... Yes. Okay. New International Version. Eat him today. Tomorrow we'll eat my son. Eat him today. Eat my son tomorrow. Eat my son tomorrow. Eat my son tomorrow. Eat my son. Boiled my son. Boiled him. Ate him. Oh my God. This is in the Bible. This is in like all the versions. What? So this is a thing. Okay. We'll just keep going. We're just... Okay. Deuteronomy. If your genitals have been damaged, stay out of church. He that is wounded in the stones, or hath his privy member cut off, shall not enter the congregation of the Lord. All right. If your PP is not ready to partay, you don't get to enter the congregation of the Lord. Fucking hate this. Okay. Incest and getting drunk with dad is no problem if the world is running thin on suitable DNA donors. I don't want to read this one. I know of this one. I don't want to fucking read it. Okay. Here we go. And the elder said to the younger, our father is old, and there is no man left on the earth to come in unto us after the manner of the whole earth. Come, let us make him drunk with wine, and let us lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night, and the elder went in and lay with her father. But he perceived not neither when his daughter lay down, nor when she rose up. And the next day the elder said to the younger, behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine also tonight, and thou shalt lie with him, that we may save seed of our father. They made their father drink wine that night also, and their younger daughter went in and lay with him. And neither then did he perceive when she lay down, nor when she rose up. So the two daughters of Lot were with child by their father. I agree with Amber. This is the most confusing aspect of the Bible. Church leaders will say the Bible is to be taken literally word for word, while also saying how it should be interpreted. And honestly, that's one of the things that I questioned as a child. And I couldn't understand how we were supposed to take things literally and then live the life we did. Because technically, no. Like, again, if that's what it means to be Christian, to be Catholic, whatever, that you're supposed to take these things literally, I refuse. I straight up fucking refuse. And that's the answer. I don't think this is morally okay. I don't think this is okay in any way. I cannot find a way to justify this being okay. I cannot. I can't. But let's double check. Maybe this is an incorrect interpretation, because why not? Maybe it's wrong. Let's see what all the other, okay, really, things have to say. Where's the Biblia thing? There's Bible Gateway. Oh, is Biblia not working on this one? All right, let's go to the King James one because a lot of people like the King James one. All I need to see is the last line. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. Hey Blair, Angel A is saying some questionable things in the chat, erasing anyone who isn't in the binary or of straight or gay of a gender binary. What's going on in the chat right now? What's happening here? Let me take a quick read. Let's take a peeky loo at what's being said here. I'm reading. Sorry. I'm just peeking through our chat, seeing what's being said here. Angel says, I have a yard full of dogs to walk. I don't need to walk these inline. You're probably saying online ones. Hey, Angel, did you know that your name's pretty fucking ironic? Aren't angels supposed to be loving and nice? Because you seem a little bitter. And you're saying there's a natural order. Uh-huh. This is a very interesting position you're taking in my chat right now. Because we just talked about how you have free will to be nice to people, to live your life in a good and moral way. Or you can use your free will to live it like an asshole. Oh, they be sensitive. Not my fault. Really? They be sensitive. Yeah. It's not that I'm an asshole. It's that everyone else is just sensitive to my grossly negligent opinions. So the yin and the yang. So you say the people being nice. And so the opposite is the opposite of it, of niceness, which means you're an asshole. Thank you for coming out and at least saying that. Yeah, ironic, a person named Angel is the one who is causing problems. Unsurprised. Unfucking surprised. We're just gonna go ahead and do this little number. Bye-bye. Okay. You can express opinions, but if you want to be an asshole, you can go to hell with your other little fallen angels or whatever. Literally do not care. Sorry about that, guys. Tolerance is kind of an important thing. It's okay to look at other perspectives. It's not okay to be an asshole. Guess he's a fallen angel now. Yeah. Bye, Angel. Bye-bye. Looks like you're a little devil now. Might want to change your name. Anyway. Where were we? Oh, yeah. How the book of Genesis says that their father, Lot, impregnated their sisters and that this is in the Bible. That's where we were. My apologies for being so off track. Anyway. We'll continue. All right, look. Looking at a woman with desire is akin to adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Now, this one is one that people like to talk about a lot now. This is a quote that's getting pretty popular, Matthew 5:28. And the reason being, right, is for many years, for decades. It's even still ongoing, for the record. Men tell girls, women tell girls, you must dress modestly, right? And even around current rape culture, right? It's your fault, or it's what were the men wearing, right? What were they wearing? And the reality is it shouldn't matter what they were wearing. And even according to those that claim they're good Christian men, it shouldn't matter, because if you look at a woman with lust, you've committed adultery in your heart already. This has nothing to do with the women, and yet it turned around and now it's their fault. And this is why we get the school stuff where it's like, oh my God, girls can't show their shoulders. Like, I'm sorry. If you're an adult teacher and you find a child's shoulder sexy, that's not the child's fault. It's you who has a problem. JamCalX says, my biggest criticism of these lists is that they're without the rest of the verse to provide context with wisdom to discern literal from metaphor, namely what led up to, and a good church encourages critical thinking. Okay, well, here's my question back to you, just my thought. Can you give me the context of where it's okay for a father to impregnate both of his daughters? Can you give me the context and wisdom as to where incest is okay? I will be waiting. Please go ahead and tell me that, where that's okay. And we'll start there, because I'm having a hard time trying to justify and understand where this is good. And this is not one sentence. This is the whole story. And pregnant by their dad. They drugged him too. So we're talking about drugging. So we're talking about non-consensual sex, like just split apart the fact that they're related. Non-consensual sex, drugging someone into having sex or being unable to consent or not consent. And then it's a father and his two daughters. I would love to know the context of this and how this is okay, because I cannot justify this. I just want to know, because you're saying this is out of context, and I'm being serious. I see you guys in the comments being a little bit snarky, and I get it, but I want to know what is the context to this, if not what we all just read. That is what I want to know. We can continue to the other verses if you can explain non-consensual sex, drugging someone, incest, like just explain this one to me, and we can continue the debate, because this one's from Genesis. This is the beginning of the book. This is before we even got into the rest of the tea. Please try and justify incest to me. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for the justification on incest and drugging your father to bear his children, let's go ahead and continue on. Oh, apparently again, incestuous rape is cool, and this time it's showing up in Kings 2. We'll look at the full context for the record. We'll take a look at it, but let's go ahead and read what this says. And when she has presented him the meat, he took hold of her and said, "Come lie with me, my sister." She answered him, "Do not so, my brother. Do not force me, for no such thing must be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly." But he would not hearken to her prayers, but being stronger, overpowered her and lay with her. Okay, Jamkel says, it's not okay. They were really messed up after Sodom and Gomorrah got nuked and got his sloppy drunk. Their children became enemy nations of Israel in the future because of their wrongdoing. All right. So then this is wrong. So we agree then, which is great. I'm happy that you are not defending this, because it's pretty indefensible. let's talk about this new one, which also just happened to be in the same vein. Now, 2 Kings comes from the New Testament. So this is post the separation with the nations of Israel. And now we're talking about, once again, now a brother is raping a sister. I'm going to go ahead and pull the full context up so everyone can see it. And I would like to know if there's a justification for this, because now this is post that moment that you've described. And I would like to know why this teaching is being presented as okay. I do not like the way this is written. This seems, let's try and find a better source. I don't know if that was like a legit source or not. So we're looking at 2 Kings 13:12. Let's go ahead and try and find us some context. Is it this one? Oh, where was is this where I was searching? Yes. Let's try some context. Okay, let's go back to King James. Is this the right one? And 14 was the next one. Oh, this one's different, guys. Hold up. Oh, wait. 2 Kings is still Old Testament? Is it really? Ooh, it's been that long since I've read the Bible. I thought it was New Testament for some reason. Okay, that is my bad. If this is Old Testament, that is my fault. That is 100% my bad for saying that. So what was the verse? It was Kings 13:8-12, and then 14, but not 13. So we're looking 11. No, we're looking at 12. Wait, sorry. Why am I being stupid right now? 8-12. Sorry. Let's go back to 8. Okay. Now this seems to be different, so perhaps this is actually wrong. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what we interpret from the King James Bible. So it starts at 8. Okay, now the rest of the acts of, oh my God, that name, Jehoahaz? We're just going to call him Jeh. Now the rest of the acts of Jeh and all that he did and his might are not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. And he slept with his fathers, and they... What? And he slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria. And Joash, his son, reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Joash, king of Judah, began Joash, oh my God, I'm going to fucking butcher all these names, I am so sorry, to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 16 years. And he did that which is evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam and his son Nebat, who made Israel sin, but he walked therein. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all he did, and his might, wherewith he fought against Amaziah, king of Judah, holy hell, I'm so sorry about these names, are not written in the book and Chronicles in the Kings of Israel. And Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat upon his throne, and Joash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. Now Elisha has fallen sick of his sickness whereof he died. And Joash the king of Israel came down unto him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. Now according to this, which is the King James Version Bible, like a whole website just for the Bible, what we read here, this is not the same. Did I read the wrong? It says 2 Kings. This does not seem to be correct. This doesn't seem to be correct at all. This is, how could they have gotten something so wrong? Well, if this is wrong, they should absolutely change this, because this is not appropriate to leave this up if this is incorrect. Let me go ahead and take a look at the chat, because I'm sure I missed some chats here while I was reading this and trying to figure this out, and I apologize. Um, Cody says, even the Christians are like, yeah, the first half of the book was pretty crazy. And Alicia says, Alicia. I'm sorry, I don't know which accent for your first name. I apologize. That proves men are victims too. It's true. No justification. His daughters live in a cave after the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. I think after the loss of his wife, his bad choices, he was like, nope, too dangerous. I believe the man presents the woman the meat. Okay. I'm looking for, I thought I saw, there you are, Jamcal. Okay, none. He was evil and his brothers slew him to avenge his sister, all because King David's weakness in managing his house. Okay. Sorry, I'm just kind of reading. I'm trying to catch up with everybody, so I'm still kind of chatting here. Sorry. Onion says, I'm a Satanist with little knowledge of the Bible, just kind of vibing in the stream. Hey, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with learning. And I think that's fine. And Jamcal says, slept as in passed away. King James is one of the worst translations, and it was made with a heavy agenda. Correct. That is right. No, the other Sarah. But isn't King James the one that most people refer to now in Christianity? Isn't it like a King James Bible is like the popular Bible? Right? I thought it was. That's why I'm referencing King James. Is it not the popular version of the Bible? If it's wrong, let's totally look at a different Bible. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm all knowing. If I'm wrong on something, I most certainly want to be corrected. What is the most popular version of the Bible? Let's take a look. People say the King James version is still the most popular. Okay. I know it had a huge agenda, and I know a lot of it was changed. And if you look back on other books and stuff, written from different times, not in relation to this, you can see the direct translations are changed. Is the King James one the one where they changed, like, from pedophilia, from saying having sex with boys, with underage girls is bad, and they changed it to homophobia? Is this that translation? Because I know there was something where there was a German Bible found from like the early 1800s that showed the direct translation of those types of verses were actually meaning pedophilia, don't have sex with children, and then it was purposely changed and retranslated to mean homophobia. Then instead of it was like don't lay with another man, it was actually don't lay with a child or something like that. Is this the one where the change was made? Okay, you guys are saying it was. Okay, so King James, New American Standard, New Living Bible are the top 3 translations. The King James Version is a bastardization translation of the Bible. Plain and simple, the original Greek, when talking about what has been referenced as homosexuality in the modern day, is something akin to, I assume you're saying that it's akin to pedophilia, not homosexuality instead. Okay, let's try then the new one, or not the King James, you say New American Standard? Was that what I was seeing? Okay. New American Standard Bible. Let's try it. Oh, so Biblegate. Oh, this was the one we should be looking at. Okay. Let's go and try this again. And I think I have to take out those really quick. Okay, let's try this. Let's read the full chapter. And we are specifically looking for 13, 8 through 12, and then 14. Hold on, I need a cough. Sorry, hopefully that muted. I don't really use the mute button often on my little stream thing. Okay, so we're looking for chapter 13, verses 8 through 12, and then verse 14. For some reason, not 13. I don't know why 13 is not the thing. All right, let's take a look at this variation. So we're looking chapter 13, starting at 8, which is here, and then to 14. 14, which is here. I'm going to be straight up because I'm looking just at 14, and they say 14. He would not hearken to her prayers, but being stronger, overpowered her and lay with her. And 14 here, when she became sick with the illness of which he was to die, came down, Joash, the king of Israel, came down to him and wept over him and said, my father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen. And he said, take bows and arrows. So he took bows and arrows. This is not correct. What are they pulling? The Douay Rhymes Bible. Okay. Well, there's that line. But he would not hearken to her prayers, but being stronger, overpowered her and lay with her. What is this? The Douay Rhymes Bible. Because this is the only one that has this. What is the meaning of this Bible? And is this accurate? I'm sorry if I'm like all over the place, but I'm like, I need to get to the bottom of this because no other translation says this. And I need to know what the heck is going on here. Let's just take a look at it from Wiki really quick. I want to know about this one. Douay Rhymes Bible. Okay, so it's a translation of the Bible from Latin Vulgate into English made by members of the English College in the service of the Catholic Church. The New Testament portion was published in Reims, France in 1582 in one volume with extensive commentary and notes. The Old Testament portion was published in 2 volumes 27 years later in 1609 and 1610 by the University of Douay. Douay? I don't know how to say. The first volume covering Genesis through Job was published in 1609, the second covering Psalms through 2 Maccabees, plus the 3 Apocrypha books following the Old Testament, was published in 1610. The purpose of the version, both text and notes, was to uphold Catholic tradition in the face of Protestant Reformation, which up until the time of its publication had dominated Elizabethan religion and academic debate. Much of the text employed a densely Latinate vocabulary, making it difficult to read the text in places. Consequently, this translation was replaced by a revision undertaken by Bishop Richard Challoner. The New Testament in 3 editions and the Old Testament, and the Challoner revision, the DRC version, tending to take its base text from the King James Version. So, okay, and I'm a little confused as well, to be honest with you. So, what I'm reading, and this is of course my personal takeaway, so feel free to disagree with me. What I'm reading here is saying that this version of the Bible is most closely translated out of the holy shit, out of the Latin version, prior to the King James Version even existing. And that this is a rough but accurate translation from that Latin created version. So if that's true, oh wait, Psalm number correspondence? or no, they say the Old Testament Douay translation of the Latin Vulgate arrived too late on the scene to have played any part in influencing the King James Version. The New Testament had, however, been available for over 20 years. In the form of William Fulke's parallel version, it was readily accessible. Nevertheless, the official instructions to the King James Version translators omitted this version from the list of previous English translations that could be consulted, probably deliberately. So, are we finding an actual portion of a Bible translation where in the King James Version it was heavily changed to fit a new narrative? That appears to be what we're finding. However, I don't like what it actually says, because that's pretty gross. Because then this means this article is accurate. They're taking it from not the King James Version. Second book of Kings, so it says 2 Samuel, and I think saw someone, oh yeah, Steve with a Q. It looks like King James Version calls this book 2 Samuel, whereas this Bible calls it 2 Kings. Okay, so look up 2 Samuel chapter 13. Okay, I am so sorry for the confusion. I obviously do not do Bible shenanigans often, so we're gonna look up 2 Samuel 13. Okay. Oh dear God. Oh my God. Fuck. It literally says it. Oh God. Oh my God. What the fuck? All right, let's do it. Actually, even afterwards, it's fucking bad. This is bad. This is literally talking about rape and how shameful she feels afterwards because she feels so disgusted in what happened. Oh my goodness. We're going to read more than just the 8 through 12 and then 14. We're going to read the entire portion that I've highlighted. We're going to go right here. We're going to start at 7 and we're going to end at 19. Oh, what is this? Can you stop? What is that? Okay. Okay. Then David sent a messenger to the house of Tamar, saying, "Now go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare food for him." So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was laying in bed. And she took dough, kneaded it, made pastries in his sight, and baked the pastries. Then she took the tray and served them to him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, "Have everyone leave me." So everyone left him. Then Amnon said to Tamar, "Bring the food into the bedroom, so that I may eat from your hand." So Tamar took the pastries which she made and brought them into the bedroom to her brother Amnon. Then she brought them to him to eat, and he took hold of her and said, "Come sleep with me, my sister." But she said to him, "No, my brother, do not violate me, for such a thing is not done in Israel. Do not do this disgraceful sin. As for me, where could I get rid of my shame? And as for you, you will be like one of the fools in Israel. Now then, please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you." However, he would not listen to her, since he was stronger than she. He violated her and slept with her. When Amnon hated her with a very great hatred, indeed, the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, "Get up, go away." But she said to him, "No, because this wrong in sending me away is greater than the other that you have done to me." Yet he would not listen to her. Then he called his young man who attended him and said, "Now throw this woman out of my presence and lock the door behind her." Now she had on a long-sleeved garment, for this is how the virgin daughters of the king dress themselves in robes. Then his attendant took her out and locked the door behind her. Tamar took ashes and put them on her head, and tore her long-sleeved garment which was on her. And she put her hand on her head and went on her way, crying out as she went. We're not done. We can keep going. When Absalom, her brother, said to her, "Has Amnon your brother been with you? But now keep silent, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this matter to heart." So Tamar remained and was isolated in her brother Absalom's house. Now when King David heard about these matters, he became very angry. But Absalom did not speak with Amnon, either good or bad. For Absalom hated Amnon because he violated his sister Tamar. Now it came about 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal-Hazor, which is near Ephraim, and Absalom invited all the king's sons to celebrate. Now, I'm hoping to God in this next one, because it says Absalom avenges Tamar. Does he kill him? Does anything happen here? I'm trying to see. Okay, let Amnon go. He goes, "I see when Amnon's heart is cheerful with wine, I say to you, strike Amnon, then put him to death. Do not fear, have I not commanded you myself? Be courageous and be valiant." And the servants of Absalom did to Amnon just as Absalom commanded. Then all the king's sons got up, and each mounted his mule and fled. So it seemed like they did kill him for doing this. You would think that with the Duggars being so religious, they would have understood. This entire verse was, don't touch your siblings. But no, they protect their kid. It's still kind of a gross thing to put in the Bible. I'm happy at least that there is a follow-up here where it says, you know, if you do this, I don't know. This is very torn to me, because the one brother says, you know, just don't talk about this. Don't deal with this anymore. Like, it's not your place to deal with it. But then he's later on killed by all the brothers. So then it's like, keep it all in the family, but then the family will kill him. I don't know. At least there is a conclusion to this, saying, you know, this will get taken care of, and it did get taken care of, as later on she is avenged, and where is it? Only Amnon is dead. So there is at least a conclusion here. And in that context, where's the one I've been having so much problem with? This is out of context. Yeah. So the longer story to it is most certainly, if you sleep with your siblings and someone finds out, you'll be killed, or should be killed, because it's not what you're supposed to do. But then it still sucks because they still talk about earlier, what was it, with the dad and the 2 daughters. So I'm like, the first one, they kind of were like, meh. And then this one, they're like, all right, now he's dead. So I'm like, kind of a conclusion, but not really. Really weird way to get to the point. That one is taken out of context. I will say that. That sucks when that happens. Let's continue on. Hopefully away from fucking incest, please. Oh my God. I can't keep talking about incest. This is fucking gross. So this version that I just read from is from King James Bible. This is 2 Samuel 13. In the quote version here, it's 2 Kings 13. And the Kings is because it comes from the Douay Rhymes Bible. But when it's in the King James Bible, it is 2 Samuel 13. Oh, and this one, sorry, this is the New American Standard, not King James, is where this one's from. Apologies. But I think it's the same in King James. Can I switch it? Oh my God, there's so many. Here's King James. Let's double check. Might as well. Okay. So here's her kneading the dough, bringing the meat into the chamber, don't do this. And he was stronger with her and forced her and lay with her. So he raped her. This is in the King James Version. And then they kill him later on. Somewhere in here. Yeah, Amnon, he was dead. He was dead. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that slave one. You're right, Squishy Mane. Where is the one where it says it's okay? The cannibalism one, that one freaks me the fuck out. I'm not gonna lie, that one. Oh my god, what the fuck? What the fuck just happened? Oh god. Okay, so my dumb ass, I'm gonna have to clean my fucking mouse pad after. I have one of those little cold Starbucks vanilla latte things in like the glass bottles, you know, that you can buy. I was holding it over my shoulder. I don't know, I just hold fucking drinks weird, and it was apparently leaking out of the side. It's on my shirt. That's okay, no worries. I'm just gonna smell like coffee. Yeah, let's go look at the, we could look at the sex slavery one. I know Exodus is Old Testament as well. This one, slaves, be subject to your masters with all reverence, not only to those who are good and equitable, but those who are perverse. So let's go ahead and look up this one and try and locate some context, because Peter should be New Testament. So here we go. Let's take a looky-loo. Let's read the full chapter. And we were looking for 2. 1 Peter 2. Am I looking at the wrong part? I feel like I must be looking at the wrong part or something. Something doesn't look right here. Did I miss something? I thought 1 Peter 2, so it would be here, but it is not here. So is this wrong? Let's try. Oh my god, there's so many goddamn Bibles. This is so fucking hard to do. I think it's this one. I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of numbing my mind out right now. I thought... Okay, is this something that's coming? Nope, they don't give me a link on this either. 1 Peter 2:18. Okay, so I am just stupid, as it turns out. Let's go to 18. Okay, here we go. So this one is out of the New American Standard Bible. Servants, be subject to your masters with all respect, not only to those who are good and gentle, but also to those who are harsh. For this finds favor, if for the sake of conscience towards God, a person endures grief when suffering unjustly. For what credit is there if, when you sin and are harshly treated, you endure it with patience? But if, when you do what is right and suffer for it, you patiently endure it, this finds favor with God. So I could easily see how this is would be reinterpreted. This seems to be reinterpreted that if you are doing the right thing and you are still suffering for it, then you will find favor with God. But the fact that it says servants, be subject to your masters with all respect, and even if essentially your master is cruel to you, you as a slave should still be good and gentle. I don't know. This is not it. This is not it at all. To me, at least, this is not it. I'm gonna be honest. My head's kind of melting, I think, which is part of the reason why I think I'm getting a little woozy or wobbly about continuing to look all these up, but just going through different versions of the Bible to find the same thing being said over and over again. I think by far the biggest folly we found today was it? No, not this one. the Genesis one. Where's the Genesis one? Anyway, you guys know the Genesis one. The one I'm talking about. The one with the daughters sleeping with the dad. Hold on. Boom. Hello. Whew. Oh, this has been a lot of looking, if we're going to be totally honest. A lot of looking, a lot of reading, a lot of uncomfortable, to be honest with you. But I think this is a fair part where we can end the stream, because my mind is honestly a little wobbly wobbly, and I do have some other things I have to do today. Some not as important, some kind of important. Yeah. So I think this is a good place to take a little pause, take a little. Oh God, sorry. I think construction is finally rolling around near the house again, so it's gonna get noisy and shaky anyway. Apparently, everything, all the signs are just saying, let's just vibe, let's just stop here. When is the next stream gonna be? The next stream might be tonight, might be tomorrow, might be in a couple days. I'm gonna definitely not stream Bible quotes again. I'm probably gonna play Elden Ring a little bit again, and then I'll probably try to interchange like both back and forth. So I'm gonna do like some kind of topic or commentary kind of piece, and then gaming, so that there's a little bit of everything, because I definitely want to play some more Elden Ring as well. I know everyone's playing it and having a great time. I want to hurry up and level up my goddamn character so that I can, you know, get to using some cool magic. So yeah, but I think that's where I'm gonna end the stream. You guys were great for hanging out. It was absolutely a bit draining. These kinds of things are not the most fun thing in the world to talk about, because, you know, sometimes people get really heated. Granted, no one really seemed to get heated except the angel that was probably the devil in disguise that was in the chat for a little bit. But yeah, I'm probably gonna do some more just streams all over the place, really, just to kind of keep things going. I'm really trying to get back into streaming. I'm going to be streaming mainly here on YouTube. I don't really see a time where I will stream on Twitch, but if that changes, I'll of course notate it and say like, hey, I'm streaming on Twitch instead. But I kind of prefer it here on YouTube, to be honest. It's just a little more chill. So yeah, I think this is where we're going to take a pause on the stream and everything. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We will of course have this cut up into nice little easy digestible clips. And I should be streaming at least 1 or 2 other times throughout the rest of this week. I think that would be a fair assumption if all goes well. But yeah, ta-da! Thank you all for joining me. Thank you so much for hanging out. It was great to do some learning today, even though I don't think we really liked what we learned. It was great all the same. So you guys are great. I probably need to do laundry, change some light bulbs, do some taxes, fun stuff, you know, so thank you guys so much for joining me again. Fantastic, every single one of you. I hope to see you guys in another stream soon, and bye for now. Bye.